Hey folks, welcome back. Let's talk about something that most people never figure out until it's too late. How to make an impact so strong that someone can't ever forget you. Now, I'm not talking about tricks, manipulation, or trying to force yourself into someone's memory. No, this goes much deeper. See, whether it's in relationships, friendships, or even life itself, people come and go. Some leave by choice, some because they didn't see your value, and some because life simply pulls you apart. But here's the thing. There's a way to leave such a lasting mark that, no matter what happens, they'll always feel your presence. They might not say it out loud. They might even pretend they've moved on. But deep down, they will never be able to forget you. Most people go about this the wrong way. They try too hard to prove their worth, beg for attention, or seek revenge to make someone remember them. But the ones who truly leave a mark don't chase, don't force, and don't waste their energy trying to convince someone to see their value. They become the kind of person who is impossible to forget. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. The mindset shifts and actions that make you unforgettable. But be warned, this is powerful. Used the right way, it can make you stronger, more resilient, and more in control of your life than ever before. But if you misuse it, it can become a weapon, one that creates obsession, regret, and emotional chaos. So, are you ready for this? Let's get into it. Number 1. Embrace pain. Don't escape it. All right, folks, let's get real. Pain is something no one wants, but sooner or later, everyone faces it. It hits when you least expect it, through heartbreak, rejection, betrayal, or losing something you thought would always be there. And when it does, most people run. They distract themselves, numb the feeling, pretend it doesn't exist. They drown themselves in social media, seek out temporary highs, or throw themselves into something new just to avoid sitting with that emptiness. But here's the truth that few people want to admit. Pain isn't something you escape. It's something you have to walk through. People who are truly unforgettable, the ones who rise above every setback and leave a mark that can't be erased. They don't run from pain. They embrace it. They let it burn. Let it reshape them. Let it fuel their transformation. Because avoiding pain doesn't make it disappear. It just buries it deeper, where it slowly eats away at you, controlling your decisions without you even realizing it. You ever see someone who just got rejected or betrayed, and suddenly they're trying to prove how fine they are? They post more, they fake a glow-up, they move on too quickly. But deep down, they're still owned by that pain. It lingers in everything they do, because they never actually dealt with it. They just covered it up. Now, picture someone who does the opposite. Instead of running, they sit with their emotions. They don't pretend they're unaffected. They don't rush to fill the void. They let themselves feel everything, not to dwell in misery, but to understand it, to learn from it. And something incredible happens. They grow. The pain that could have broken them becomes the very thing that strengthens them. Instead of seeking distractions, they focus inward. Instead of looking for validation, they rebuild themselves in silence. And by the time they emerge on the other side, they are unrecognizable, stronger, sharper, more powerful than before. See, people expect you to fold. They expect you to chase, to seek their attention, to prove your worth. But when you embrace your pain instead, when you channel it into becoming someone they never saw coming, that's when you become unforgettable. They might act like they've moved on, like they don't notice, but deep down, they do. Because nothing is more haunting than watching someone you thought would break become untouchable instead. And let's be real, pain is the best teacher you'll ever have. It shows you exactly who you are. It strips away every illusion, exposes every weakness, and forces you to face yourself. But only if you let it. If you keep running from it, you stay stuck. You repeat the same cycles, attract the same people, fall into the same traps. But if you sit with it, really feel it, really learn from it, you evolve. You see things differently. You move differently. You stop needing things that once controlled you. And that's when real power begins. So the next time life hits you with something painful, remember, you don't need to escape it. You need to embrace it. Let it shape you. Let it push you. Let it fuel your rise. Because the people who leave the biggest mark on this world, they're the ones who learned how to take pain and turn it into power. Now, let me ask you, are you ready to stop running? If you are, drop a comment below and type, "I turn pain into power." Let's see who's really paying attention. And if you're serious about becoming someone they never forget, hit that subscribe button and stick around. Because the next step, it changes everything. Let's get into it. Number 2, the power of emotional indifference. All right, folks, let's talk about something that completely shifts the way people see you. Emotional indifference. Now, before you think this means being cold, heartless, or disconnected, let me clarify. True indifference isn't about shutting off your emotions. It's about not letting them control you. It's about reaching a level of inner strength where nothing, no rejection, no betrayal, no sudden shift in someone's behavior can shake you. Most people go through life reacting to everything. Someone ignores them, they get anxious. Someone pulls away, they chase. Someone rejects them. They feel like they've lost all value. And this is exactly why so many people are easy to forget. Because when your emotions are dictated by the actions of others, you give away your power. You become predictable. You become dependent. And that is the fastest way to make yourself insignificant in someone's mind. But when you master emotional indifference, everything changes. Imagine for a second, what if nothing could shake you? What if no matter what someone did, ignored you, tested you, tried to make you jealous, you stayed completely unmoved? That kind of energy, it's rare, it's magnetic, and most importantly, it's unforgettable. Think about the last time you saw someone completely unfazed by a situation that would have made most people spiral. Maybe it was a person who walked away from a rejection like it meant nothing, or someone who didn't flinch when someone tried to get a reaction out of them. That kind of composure is powerful. It commands respect. It creates curiosity. And more than anything, it makes people remember you. Because in a world where everyone is emotionally reactive, the one who isn't, they stand out. Now, let's be real. Getting to this level of emotional indifference isn't easy. It takes discipline. It takes rewiring the way you respond to the world. Most people have been trained to seek validation, to react when something threatens their ego, to prove themselves when they feel overlooked. But the truth is, the more you react, the more you reveal your weaknesses. And once someone knows they can affect you, they own you. So, how do you develop this kind of emotional strength? First, detach from outcomes. Most emotional suffering comes from expectations. Expecting people to treat you a certain way, expecting situations to go as planned, expecting validation when you put in effort. But when you learn to let go of expectations, you stop being easily disappointed. You stop getting caught up in the roller coaster of emotions that most people are trapped in. Instead, you move through life with a calm, steady energy that people can't quite figure out. And here's what happens when you start living this way. People become drawn to you. They start wondering why you don't react like everyone else. They start questioning why their usual tactics don't work on you. They start noticing that while everyone else is caught up in drama, emotions, and ego battles, you're just unaffected. And that makes you unforgettable. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine you're in a situation where someone suddenly pulls away from you. Maybe a friend, maybe someone you're dating. Most people, in that moment, panic. They start overanalyzing, chasing, seeking clarity, trying to fix things. But the one who's truly indifferent, they don't even flinch. They don't chase. They don't explain. They don't try to convince anyone to stay. They just keep moving. And what happens? The one who walked away starts wondering why. They start questioning their own decision. They start feeling the absence of your energy, because nothing makes someone question themselves more than realizing they didn't affect you the way they thought they would. That's the power of emotional indifference. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about mastering them. It's about knowing when to engage and when to simply walk away with your peace intact. And when you reach that level, people never forget the way you carried yourself. So now, let me ask you, are you ready to stop being emotionally controlled by others? If you are, drop a comment below and type, "I am unshaken." Let's see who's truly paying attention. And if you're serious about becoming someone they never forget, hit that subscribe button and stick around, because the next move, it's one that speaks louder than words. Let's get into it. Number 3, let silence speak for you. All right, folks, let's talk about one of the most underrated yet powerful tactics you can ever use: silence. Most people think power is in words, in action, in making noise to prove a point. But the truth? Silence is often louder than anything you could ever say. And if you master the art of letting silence do the talking for you, you become unforgettable. Think about the last time someone suddenly stopped responding to you. Maybe they went quiet after an argument. Maybe they stopped engaging when you expected a reaction. How did it make you feel? Frustrated? Curious? Maybe even a little desperate to figure out what they were thinking? That's the power of silence. It forces people to fill in the blanks. It creates uncertainty. And in uncertainty, the mind becomes obsessed. See, most people are predictable. When they're hurt, they react. When they feel ignored, they seek attention. When they're disrespected, they lash out. And that's exactly why they're easy to manipulate, easy to forget, and easy to control. But the one who knows how to stay silent, that's the one who owns the room. Because when you don't respond the way someone expects, when you don't beg for clarity, when you don't react just to prove something, you instantly gain the upper hand. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine someone disrespects you. Maybe they're testing you, trying to provoke a reaction. Most people, in that moment, will argue, defend themselves, or try to set the record straight. But you just go quiet. No explanations, no anger, no long paragraphs justifying yourself. Just silence. And that silence, it does something powerful. It forces them to sit with their own words, to feel the weight of what they've done, to question if they really have the control they thought they did. And suddenly, the dynamic shifts. Or picture this. You've been talking to someone, and out of nowhere, they start pulling away. Maybe they're losing interest. Maybe they're testing you. Maybe they're waiting for you to chase. Most people panic. They double text, ask if something's wrong, try to win back attention. But when you understand the power of silence, you do nothing. No chasing, no questioning, no trying to fix what doesn't need to be fixed. You let the absence of your energy speak for itself. And here's what happens. The silence gets to them. It makes them question everything. It makes them wonder why you're not reacting like everyone else. And before they even realize it, they're thinking about you. Not because you begged for their attention, but because the silence left a space they can't ignore. See, silence creates mystery. It forces people to wonder, to fill in the gaps, to sit with the uncertainty of not knowing what's going on in your mind. And in a world where everyone overshares, where people constantly react, constantly seek validation, constantly need to be heard, the one who doesn't, they become impossible to forget. But let's be clear, silence isn't about playing games. It's not about manipulation. It's about control. It's about knowing when speaking won't add value, when your energy is better protected, when removing yourself from a situation is more powerful than engaging. It's about mastering the art of presence without words. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, but won't people just forget about me if I stay silent? Not if you've left an impact. Not if your energy was strong enough before you went quiet. Because silence doesn't erase you, it amplifies your presence. And if someone doesn't notice your silence, then they were never truly paying attention to you in the first place. And that's your answer. So now, the question is, when was the last time you let silence speak for you? If you understand just how powerful this is, drop a comment below and type, "My silence is my power." Let's see who really gets it. And if you're ready to take this to the next level, hit that subscribe button and stick around. Because the next move, it's one that transforms you completely. Let's get into it. Number 4, level up for yourself. All right, folks, let's get one thing straight. Leveling up isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's not about making an ex regret leaving, making someone notice you, or forcing the world to acknowledge your worth. It's about you. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need validation, who doesn't seek approval, who doesn't wait for permission to evolve. Because when you truly level up for yourself, that's when you become unstoppable. Most people get this wrong. They think self-improvement is about getting a reaction. They hit the gym just to post progress photos. They chase success just to show off. They act like they've moved on just to make someone jealous. And sure, for a moment, it might work. People might notice. They might even come back, if that's what you were hoping for. But deep down, you'll still be controlled by them. Because if your motivation is external, if you're leveling up to make someone else see your worth, you're still letting them dictate your value. But when you do it for you, that's different. That's when the shift happens. That's when the glow up isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, spiritual. That's when you stop chasing, stop proving, stop needing. And that's when people really start noticing. Not because you're trying to get their attention, but because your energy has changed. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine two people go through a breakup. One of them immediately starts working on themselves, but everything they do is about sending a message. Every gym session, every new outfit, every achievement, it's all a performance. They're still thinking about the other person, still reacting, still trying to prove a point. And what happens? It feels forced. It looks like effort, not evolution. And the worst part? If they don't get the reaction they wanted, they feel empty again. Now, the other person, they do it differently. They don't level up with an audience in mind. They don't seek attention. They don't announce every move. They don't look over their shoulder hoping someone is watching. They just focus on becoming better for the sake of it. And the difference? It's undeniable. Their confidence isn't built on validation. Their progress isn't tied to anyone else. They level up and they don't look back. And here's the irony. When you stop trying to prove something, that's when people start paying attention, because they can feel the difference. They can sense that you're not doing this for them, that you're not attached to their opinion anymore. And that's magnetic. But let's be clear. Leveling up for yourself doesn't mean avoiding success, hiding your progress, or downplaying your growth. It means doing it with the right mindset. It means choosing to improve because you deserve it, not because someone else needs to see it. It means investing in your body, your mind, your goals, your peace, because that's the standard you set for yourself, not because you're hoping someone will regret losing you. And here's the most powerful part. When you truly level up for yourself, you become a different person. Not just in appearance, not just in achievements, but in the way you move, the way you think, the way you respond to the world. You stop needing validation. You stop reacting. You stop wasting energy on things that don't serve you. You step into a version of yourself that doesn't look back, because looking back isn't necessary anymore. So, let me ask you, are you leveling up for the right reasons? If you're ready to evolve for you and no one else, drop a comment below and type, "I level up for me." Let's see who's really committed. And if you're serious about transformation, hit that subscribe button and stick around, because the next move, it's about mastering something that makes you untouchable. Let's get into it. Number 5, mastering mystery and unpredictability. All right, folks, let's talk about something that completely changes the way people perceive you. Mystery and unpredictability. If you've ever wondered why some people are unforgettable, why they linger in others' minds long after they're gone, why they leave people obsessing over them without even trying, this is it. Most people are too predictable. They wear their emotions on their sleeve. They respond in the same way every time. They're too available, too accessible, too easy to figure out. And what happens when something becomes predictable? It loses its power. There's no excitement, no curiosity, no pull. That's why, if you want to be someone who is impossible to forget, you must master the art of mystery and unpredictability. See, human psychology works in a simple way. People crave what they don't fully understand. When someone can't figure you out, when they don't know what you're thinking, when they can't predict your next move, they become obsessed with trying to. It's like an unfinished puzzle, a book with missing pages. The mind can't help but want to fill in the blanks. Now, here's where most people go wrong. They think being mysterious means being distant, cold, or secretive. They think it means playing games or manipulating people by withholding information. But that's not real mystery. Real mystery isn't about what you hide. It's about what you reveal and when. Let's break it down. Imagine two people enter a room. One of them overshares instantly. They talk about their entire life story within the first conversation. They lay out all their emotions, and they make it clear exactly how they feel about everything. Now, the other person, they're engaging, but they reveal things slowly. They answer questions thoughtfully, but never fully expose everything. They don't always text back right away. They don't always react the way people expect. They move on their own time, by their own rules. Which one do you think people will be more drawn to? The one who keeps people guessing? The one who isn't an open book but more like a novel that unfolds one chapter at a time? Because when you leave a little uncertainty, when you hold just enough back, you create curiosity. And curiosity? That's what makes you unforgettable. Think about it. Why do people always seem more interested in the one who isn't overly available? Why do they fixate on the person who gives just enough attention to keep them wondering, but never enough to make them feel completely certain? Because mystery creates desire, and unpredictability, that keeps things exciting. If you always do what people expect, if your reactions are always the same, if you're always available whenever someone calls, there's no intrigue. But when your next move isn't always obvious, when you don't explain yourself all the time, when you keep an element of unpredictability in your energy, people stay hooked. Let's take this into relationships for a second. Have you ever noticed that the people who seem to have the most power in a dynamic are the ones who don't reveal too much? They don't seek validation. They don't explain every thought. They don't let others dictate their moves. And what happens? They naturally draw people in. Not because they're withholding, but because their energy makes people want to figure them out. And unpredictability? That's what keeps people on edge, in the best way. When someone never knows exactly how you'll respond, when they can't put you into a predictable box, they stay engaged. It's why people love thrillers, plot twists, surprises. We are wired to crave the unexpected. So, how do you apply this? Start by becoming more intentional with what you reveal. Don't explain everything. Don't always respond immediately. Don't let people know exactly what you're thinking all the time. Let them wonder. Move in ways that aren't always obvious. Keep evolving. Keep growing. Keep shifting in ways that people don't expect. And here's the most powerful part. When you master mystery and unpredictability, you become someone people can't stop thinking about. They replay conversations. They wonder why you haven't reached out. They analyze every little thing you do because you've created a presence that leaves an impact. So now, let me ask you, are you someone people can't figure out? Or are you too predictable? If you're ready to embrace the power of mystery, drop a comment below and type, "I move in silence." Let's see who really gets it. And if you're serious about becoming someone they'll never forget, hit that subscribe button and stick around. Because next, we talk about redefining yourself in a way they never saw coming. Let's get into it. Number 6, redefine yourself and move on. All right, folks, let's talk about something that most people never fully understand. The power of redefining yourself. See, when life throws you a setback, whether it's heartbreak, rejection, or losing something you thought would always be there, you have two choices. Cling to the past and stay the same, or evolve into something they'll never recognize. Most people, they stay stuck. They replay old conversations, analyze every little thing that went wrong, and keep their identity tied to who they used to be. But the ones who become unforgettable, they redefine themselves completely. They don't just move on, they become so different, so elevated, so unshakable that anyone who once overlooked them wouldn't even recognize them if they tried. See, moving on isn't just about letting go. It's about transformation. It's about making a decision that the person you were before, that version of you no longer exists. Not because they weren't good enough, but because you're stepping into something greater. And when you do this, you don't just move forward, you create a presence that no one can ignore. Now, let's be real. Most people resist change. They hold on to old habits, old mindsets, old versions of themselves because it's comfortable. Even if the past was painful, at least it's familiar. But if you want to truly move on, if you want to step into the kind of power that makes you impossible to forget, you have to be willing to destroy every limiting belief that's kept you stuck. That means letting go of old attachments. That means breaking patterns that no longer serve you. That means choosing growth over comfort every single time. Think about it. How many people stay trapped in the same cycles, living in the shadow of who they used to be? They tell themselves they're moving on, but deep down, they're still holding on to the past. They still react the same way. They still think the same way. They still let the past define them. But the moment you decide that you are no longer that version of yourself, everything changes. You stop being emotionally tied to what once was. You stop waiting for closure, for validation, for someone to acknowledge your growth. Because your growth, it speaks for itself. Now, here's where people get stuck. They think moving on means cutting everything off, pretending the past didn't happen, or forcing themselves to feel nothing. That's not it. Moving on is about evolving so much that the past no longer has a hold on you. It's about becoming so focused on your future, on your vision, on your transformation, that looking back just doesn't make sense anymore. Imagine for a second, what if the version of you that was hurt, that was waiting for answers, that was caught up in the past, was no longer who you are? What if you completely redefined yourself, your mindset, your energy, your focus, so that the things that once had power over you, they're irrelevant now. That's what real moving on looks like. Not just walking away, but becoming something so evolved, so powerful, so untouchable that your past no longer fits you. And the best part? People feel it. The ones who took you for granted, the ones who thought they could come and go as they please, they sense the shift. And when they try to come back, they don't even recognize who you've become. Not because you're faking it, not because you're playing a role, but because you've truly outgrown everything that once held you back. See, most people think revenge is proving something, making someone jealous, or getting the last word. But the real flex is when you've changed so much that you don't even need a reaction anymore. You don't need to prove anything, because the way you carry yourself now, it speaks for itself. So here's my question for you. Are you still the same person they left behind? Or have you redefined yourself? If you're truly ready to evolve, drop a comment below and type, "I am transformed." Let's see who's really about this life. And if you're serious about becoming someone no one forgets, hit that subscribe button and stick around. Because the next step, it's about building something even bigger. Your new tribe, your new circle, your new reality. Let's get into it. Number 7, build a new tribe. Make them regret leaving all right. Folks, let's talk about one of the most powerful ways to move forward and become unforgettable. Building a new tribe. See, when someone walks away from you, when they betray you, when they take you for granted, they expect you to stay stuck. They expect you to sit there, replaying memories, feeling lost, wondering if they'll ever come back. But you know what really makes them regret leaving? Realizing that you're thriving without them. Most people, when they lose someone, whether it's a relationship, a friend, or even a whole social circle, they make one of two mistakes. They either isolate themselves, sinking into loneliness, or they try to prove something by forcing connections that aren't real. But the ones who truly come out on top, they don't just replace what they lost. They build something better. Let's get real for a second. The people who walked away from you, they probably thought you needed them. They probably thought they were irreplaceable. But the truth is, you were always the asset. The energy, the value, the presence that made the connection special, that came from you. And when you take that energy and redirect it into building a new, stronger, and more supportive tribe, that's when people start realizing exactly what they lost. Think about it. Have you ever seen someone go through a breakup or a fallout, and instead of falling apart, they surrounded themselves with better people? They elevated their circle, started connecting with people who respected them, supported them, and pushed them forward. And what happened? Suddenly, the people who walked away started watching from a distance, wondering if they made a mistake. That's not an accident. It's psychology. People don't regret losing someone who sits around waiting. They regret losing someone who levels up so much that they can't even reach them anymore. And building a new tribe isn't about making someone jealous. It's about aligning yourself with people who match your growth. See, the biggest mistake you can make is trying to prove something to the ones who left. That's wasted energy. They already showed you who they are. Your job isn't to convince them of your worth. It's to build a life so rich in connections, so full of genuine support, that their absence becomes irrelevant. And here's the truth. Your energy attracts your tribe. If you're still carrying resentment, still holding on to bitterness, you'll attract people who feed off that negativity. But the moment you truly let go, the moment you step into a mindset of abundance, confidence, and self-worth, the right people start showing up. So how do you do it? Simple. You focus on yourself first. You elevate your energy, your mindset, your purpose, and in that process, you naturally start aligning with people who see your value, who respect you, who want to build with you, not tear you down. And when that happens, you become untouchable. The ones who left, they start noticing. They start wondering. They start feeling the emptiness that your presence once filled. And by the time they realize what they lost, it's too late. So now, I want to ask you, are you still looking back, or are you ready to build something better? If you're ready to move forward, drop a comment below and type, "I build my own tribe." Let's see who's truly stepping into their power. And if this message hit home for you, hit that subscribe button and stick around. Because next, we talk about staying composed when everything is trying to shake you. Let's get into it. Number 8, stay composed. When everything is testing your strength, all right. Folks, let's talk about something that truly separates the ones who rise from the ones who break. Staying composed when everything around you is trying to shake you. See, it's easy to stay calm when life is smooth, when nothing is challenging you, when people are treating you right. But the real test? It's how you carry yourself when things don't go your way. Most people, they crumble under pressure. The moment they feel rejected, betrayed, or overlooked, they react. They lash out. They seek validation. They let their emotions dictate their actions. But the ones who are truly unforgettable, they move differently. They don't let the chaos around them dictate their energy. They don't give people the reaction they're expecting. And because of that, they become impossible to ignore. See, the moment you let someone else control your emotions, you give them power over you. If someone can trigger you with silence, if they can manipulate you into overreacting, if they can make you break your composure just to prove something, they own you. They know exactly how to pull your strings. And once they know that, you lose. But when you learn to stay composed, no matter what's happening, that's when you become untouchable. It doesn't mean you don't feel things. It doesn't mean you don't acknowledge what's happening. It means you make a conscious decision not to let outside forces dictate your inner state. Think about the last time someone tried to test you. Maybe they ignored your message, hoping you'd double text. Maybe they disrespected you, waiting for a reaction. Maybe they pulled away, expecting you to chase. And what did you do? Did you take the bait? Did you let their actions shake your energy? Or did you stay still, unbothered, watching as their games lost power? Because let me tell you, when you refuse to engage in emotional chaos, you gain control over every situation. And people feel that. They sense when someone isn't easy to manipulate. They notice when you don't react the way they expected. And suddenly, they start questioning themselves instead of controlling you. Now, this doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. It doesn't mean you become cold or disconnected. It means you master them. You feel everything, but you respond with wisdom, not impulse. You don't let temporary feelings lead to permanent mistakes. You don't let people drag you into their drama just because they want to feel powerful. You stay centered. Because here's the truth. The strongest people in the room aren't the loudest. They aren't the ones proving themselves. They're the ones who can sit in silence, in control, letting their presence do all the talking. So, how do you build this kind of composure? You train yourself to pause. When something triggers you, when someone tries to shake you, when a situation tempts you to react, you breathe. You remind yourself that power isn't in the reaction. Power is in the restraint. And once you learn this, you become unforgettable, not because you force anyone to see your worth, but because your energy commands respect. Because when they realize they can't shake you, when they see that you've mastered your emotions, that's when they regret ever underestimating you. So now, let me ask you, are you still reacting, or are you in control? If you're stepping into your power, drop a comment below and type, "I remain unshaken." Let's see who's really paying attention. And if this message spoke to you, hit that subscribe button and stick around. Because next, we're talking about turning pain into strength in a way that no one sees coming. Let's get into it. Number 9, turn heartbreak into strength. All right, folks, let's talk about something that every single one of us has faced. Heartbreak. Whether it was a failed relationship, a betrayal, or the pain of being replaced. Heartbreak shakes you to your core. It makes you question your worth, your choices, even your identity. And in that moment, you have two options. Let it break you, or let it build you. Most people, they let heartbreak define them. They get stuck in the cycle of overanalyzing, replaying memories, wondering what they could have done differently. They let the pain consume them, allowing it to control their thoughts, their emotions, and their actions. And before they even realize it, they've lost themselves in the past. But the ones who turn heartbreak into strength, they do something different. They don't run from the pain. They don't numb it. They don't seek revenge. They use it. They take that energy, that fire, that raw emotion, and they channel it into something greater. They transform. See, pain is one of the greatest motivators in the world. Nothing forces a person to grow like heartbreak does. Because when you've been broken, you have two choices: stay shattered or rebuild yourself into something even stronger. And the ones who rebuild, they become unstoppable. Let's break this down. The reason heartbreak hurts so much is because it exposes something within you, something you attached your identity to. Maybe it was the idea that this person would always be in your life. Maybe it was the validation you got from them. Maybe it was the sense of comfort and stability they gave you. And when that's taken away, it feels like a part of you is missing. But here's the truth. You were never missing anything. That love, that validation, that sense of security, it was always within you. The heartbreak just forced you to see where you were, depending on someone else to give it to you. And now, you get to take all of that back. Think about the most powerful people you know. The ones who carry themselves with confidence, who radiate strength, who seem untouchable. Do you really think they never experienced heartbreak? Of course they did. But instead of letting it break them, they let it sharpen them. They used the pain as a lesson, not as a life sentence. They looked at the experience and thought, what did this teach me about myself? What patterns do I need to break? How do I turn this into fuel to create something better? And when you start thinking like that, everything shifts. Instead of being a victim of heartbreak, you become a product of your own evolution. Instead of waiting for closure, you create your own. Instead of proving your worth to someone who walked away, you become so focused on your growth that their absence becomes irrelevant. That's how you turn heartbreak into strength. You stop seeing it as an ending and start seeing it as a beginning. You use it as the wake-up call you didn't know you needed. You allow it to strip away the weaker version of yourself and force you to step into someone who doesn't just survive pain, but thrives because of it. And the best part? The ones who left? They feel it. They might not say it out loud, but deep down, they notice. They see the shift. They feel the distance. They sense that you're no longer the same person who once waited for them, who once needed their validation, who once reacted to their absence. And that's when regret starts to hit. But here's the thing, you won't care. Because by the time they realize what they lost, you'll be too far ahead to even look back. So, let me ask you, are you still letting heartbreak define you? Or are you using it to become something stronger? Because the real power move is becoming someone who doesn't need to be saved. And with that, this journey isn't over. It's just beginning. All right, folks, that's a wrap. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching, you're evolving. You now understand that pain isn't your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. The real question is, what are you going to do with it? If this message hit home, drop a comment below and type, I rise above. Let's see who's truly stepping into their power. And if you're serious about mastering your mindset and becoming someone they never forget, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because trust me, this is just the beginning. See you in the next one.